Welcome, everybody. Thirsty Thursday number 53. Tonight we're talking about life outside the firehouse. And this is the first show in a while where it's just the guys. So it's just Bobby, Trevor, myself, and Mike, Mr. Fire, Wood. I guess we'll be joining Bobby here shortly. They're out at an at a establishment,
The House of
uh,
Sauce.
House of Sauce. I like it. What
Uh,
what kind of establishment is that, Bobby?
the House of Sauce has like 30 different types of wings and things like that.
Oh, no shit. Nice.
So I'm taking care of business here, and Kathy and Timmy are playing Mingo inside, so everybody's happy.
Nice,
Well,
nice.
well,
Well,
Bobby,
cheers, guys. It's good. It's good to see you again. It's
cheers, brothers. And all I see behind Bobby is AUCE, which usually stands for all you can eat. So, there's sauce. Okay,
There
I
it is.
got you now. All right,
There it
bud.
is. Um, so just a couple of things before we get into the show tonight, where like Bobby, I think so eloquently and pointed out that tonight's a Seinfeld show. It's a show about nothing. Um, so before we get into that, just a couple of things that we wanted to circle back around. 2 weeks ago, we had Tiffany Warner on, who is fantastic. She is an awesome human being. Is doing great things over in the Panhandle, which I think, as Trevor said, that's the L.A. of Florida, the Lower Alabama. Um, so I'm not sure what kind of flack we'll get for that, but it is what it is. Um, she had said on the show that on March 1st she was launching an organization called Forever Warriors. So that information is now out and available. There across the bottom is all of her information can be found. So give them a like, give them a follow, share their stuff. Um, I don't know if you guys remember from what she had said. If there's something that you can do, it's to go to that website about how to help those people leaving the military transition to civilian life, and how to be kind of a mentor and a role model to assist them with that process. It gives you an education. It gives an idea of like what they're kind of dealing with and what they're going through. So we'll flash that up later again. But it was a great show. And like we said, we're going to share some more of her information through our social media. So if you're watching, make sure you check that out. Before we get too much, before we really get going, obviously we need to talk about or mention the brother in Buffalo that was killed yesterday. 4 alarm fire that they had. Uh, with collapses, and there's the video going around of the backdraft, and so just a terrible time in Buffalo for those brothers and sisters. So cheers, brothers. May you rest in peace.
And Ben, while we're on that subject, because I don't want to take the downturn, but recently in the last few weeks, a very good friend of mine and close colleague and NFA slash EFO slash emergency management, everything. A captain here in Palm Beach County, Adam Taft, unfortunately, lost his life at a young age. He's got a young family, so please keep them in your prayers. And everybody here is still cycling through that. And that was the same week that we also learned, as Bobby and Ben, you both well know, we were up there in Virginia Beach celebrating a great friend of ours' 70th birthday, and it was very much of a roller coaster weekend. Great to see probably one of the people I respect the most in the fire service. Great person, always kept you upbeat, kept you psyched for the job. And we also learned that one of our brothers from the Salisbury, Maryland Fire Department has been diagnosed with brain cancer as undergoing treatment. So, please keep him in your prayers. This is somebody who it's a family affair. For them, the fire service is definitely, runs very, very strong in that family. The guy just retired after, what is it, 42 years, Ben? That sounds.
Yeah, I think it was something close to that, career and volunteer. I know it was over 30 as a career member of the department, but
Yep.
it was yeah he was in the department a long time, both as a career and volunteer member.
Yeah.
And
And this
is
is,
still active. I'm guessing not active as of right now, but was active with the Fruitland Volunteer Fire Company prior to his retirement. And like he's the guy that would always show up. Whatever you had, he was there. Like there wasn't a fire in Salisbury where he didn't show up to. So
yeah, and brother, over my tenure, occasionally Ocean City and Salisbury would fight some major fires together. And, between training and some of those major fires, and I, got a lot of, great memories and a few photographs to look back on. But, let's support the brother as he fights a good fight, because, he certainly gave everything plus to, the community, not only in Salisbury, but Wycomico County, Worcester County, anywhere that, this guy could show up to be a positive impact on the fire service. He was there. So, to Brian and the whole Records family, certainly wish them the best of luck and best of recovery. And to Adam Taft and his family, we certainly keep you in our thoughts and prayers as we go forward. And the folks from Buffalo, it's sad we have to have these acknowledgments as often as we do, but it's important to make sure that we always recognize those folks who not only came before us, but that are here now, and we'll make sure their legacy lives on. So cheers to all those folks who we've been proud to serve with.
It's all right. Try and switch gears and get a little bit more upbeat. The original topic or the title for the show was "Life Outside the Firehouse," and I thought we'd just get chat for see how long it goes and see when you guys get off shift, what is it that you like to do? Bobby, I know you like to tinker on cars and very mechanical, that kind of stuff, and smoking some meats. You have a couple of different. That didn't sound great. Sorry. You got a couple of different setups as well. So, Trevor, I know you like going out in the boat, fishing, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, let's just talk about that kind of stuff. Like, you get off a shift, whether it's a good shift, bad shift, indifferent, whatever it is. You need a little something to take your mind off of it and keep on going. So. Bobby, why don't you take off for us? We haven't seen you in a while. Let's get you going.
Got you. All right. Well, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about our friend Brian Records. On a positive note, Brian was a very, very strong truck proponent. Actually, to the point that those boys would tell me that he would cut a vent hole in an outhouse if it was on fire. It didn't make any difference. So. He was always considered to be the roof man. I know he had just some time over working in Kentland, doing some of that stuff over there. And he is definitely a dignitary for us around here in the fire service. His family, it's a family tradition over there. His father, what was his father over there, Ben?
His father was a career assistant chief.
He was assistant chief, right? Yep.
And then he went to
16D.
Mm-hmm.
And he was out there for a long time as well.
So I'm thinking about my brother. I mean, he's been awesome. He's been training with us and things like that, hot training, things like that. He's just always been a fixture around here. And I was sad he retired, and then I was really saddened by him getting sick. But he's a fighter, man. So we'll see. I think he's planning on coming back strong. So
yeah.
I think outside of work, I've been in the fire service for 34 years, not including the time I was a firefighter in the Navy. And, sometimes you get wrapped up in the fire service. And it's interesting to get out of there, I think helps a lot. So I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I trained and worked as a concrete mason. I worked as a bricklayer. I trained and certified as a mechanic. I worked as a mechanic for a while and do welding and all that kind of stuff. So those things, I got to tell you, when you get out in the shop, you really do forget about all the fire department stuff for a while, and you're doing something different. And it's kind of cool for me to just make things or build things or do stuff like that, or work on things that are broke and make them work again. I'm also I do a decent amount of working out, running, and stuff like that. And most of it's really geared towards being a firefighter. As we get up there in age, we got to keep up and try to be there. And I love the interior fire gig. So I really, really, really do try to work out to be able to do that. And so far it's been doing well. That being said, I really love working out. I like doing it, so it's not like a burden to me or anything like that. It just gives me a really good excuse to say, hey, Kathy, I'll see you in an hour. I got to go, So that's kind of it. The other thing is funny is, so all those trades that I worked in and everything I worked in, my wife has been relatively like not interested, for lack of a better term. I'm going to go out in the garage or work on a car. She's like, whatever, see you. What time you coming for dinner? When I do welding and things like that, so on and so forth. Nothing like that. So she's never been interested in any of these things I've been doing. And the other day, she's sitting there watching TV, and she goes, "I have seen the most awesome show." I'm like, "Well, what is that, baby?" And it's called it's not Dirty Jobs. It's the other one where they compete against each other.
Hard as Nails.
Tough as Nails. She
Yeah.
said, "This is the most awesome show ever." And I said, "What are you talking about, baby?" She goes, "Oh yeah, you should see all the cool things these guys do, man. They fix these engines and they weld and they put drywall up." And I'm like, "You have got to be kidding me." So, not interested in me, but interested in all the other buff guys out there that do that kind of crap. So there you go. All right, Trapper, you're up.
Well, brother, kind of to Ben's point, early on in my fire service career, I had a really, really tough time trying to balance the work-life balance. And I'll never forget this, which I thought this was a great thing, especially for a volunteer division. But when I was younger, in my volunteer days, I remember in the meeting room on a Tuesday night, they passed around a clipboard. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to build business amongst, like a co-op amongst the members, to say, hey, look, if you need a carpenter, an electrician, a plumber, whatever, we got a lot of skill sets within the fire service. Let's try to keep the talent in the family. If we can use each other, great. If not, then no big deal. But let's try to do that. And as a young person, when the clipboard came around to me and it says occupation, I put at the time I was an EMT. I put firefighter EMT. And I remember a captain on ladder 6. I passed it to him next, and I was a station 3 guy, and I handed him the clipboard, and he goes, literally, and I quote, he goes, "Oh, so my house is on fire. I'm supposed to fucking call you?" I'm like, I didn't know what to say because I had nothing else. I had no diversity in skill sets, and there's things I like to do, I enjoy doing, I could do, but my blinders were just, hey, I'm a firefighter. I'm an EMT. That's all I got. And I remember as a young lieutenant myself, I would put out a shift resource list to say, hey, what are your skills? And literally, and some of these people, they can remain nameless to protect the guilty, but they weren't special ops guys. They weren't, they might have been some of my senior people. But if I said, hey, I need you to build a raker shore, and they said, what's a raker shore? And I drew them a picture, they could literally say, okay, get out of the way. And when I came back, they would have 10 perfect raker shores built because they had that skill set, they had that energy, they had that drive. So, just like you, Bobby, as somebody who can weld and do drywall and, all these skill sets, I'm like, all right. And I enjoy the instruction part of what we do. And, because of, some, medical challenges or anything else with my voice, it's become a little bit harder now. So I look back at some of those things to say, wow, the more diverse you can make yourself and base it on things you have a passion for. Am I going to become a municipal accountant? No. I can barely count to 10 and I got all of my fingers. So, this is one of those things that, if you're like I say, a carpenter, a welder, an electrician, you work on cars, you're a diver.
I hope Mike Hastings isn't listening to this, Trevor.
Dude, that's just wrong. Hey, love you, Uncle Ike. But that's funny. That is. But damn, Bobby, you just derailed me. But anyway, no, but it's one of those things. If you find your passion, just like I love being on and in the water. I love boating, love fishing, love diving. Love the navigation part. So I find myself, even for training for work or even off duty, I've got a guy coming in tomorrow. He's one of my volunteers. We're in a combination system. Great guy. You talk about somebody who's got a heart for the fire service. He's had a few, how can I put this? A few disappointments because, he's tried out for a couple different departments and they haven't picked him up. Like, you know what? It wasn't right for you. He's getting ready to go into West Palm and, I know the guy is going to succeed. And he came to me the other day. He says, "Hey, Chief, look, I can swim, right?" I'm like, "Well, you haven't drowned yet, so yeah, I get that." He goes, "One of the things we have to do is tread water for 20 minutes, and I can't do it." Well, guess what we're doing tomorrow morning at 7:30? So that's one of the things is where you can take some of the places where you might not think it's a big deal or you take for granted because you're just so acclimated to it, and you can transfer that to somebody else. And I know without doubt this is the guy who is going to take, and he does it now, he's going to take his passion for whatever he does and whatever his niche is, and he's going to inspire generations of firefighters. And I'm investing a half an hour in a guy tomorrow. It's a drop in the bucket. It's nothing, but I know that investment in him, he's going to take that and it's going to be exponential. So that's kind of what I look at our off-duty stuff as. And look at our previous guests. And Ben, I want to kick it over to you real quick, but look at some of our people like Eric Olson, for example, who's gotten into the mental health, and Gringo, who's gotten into not only that but the physical health. All these people have just such great skill sets and great passions that they bring into our industry. And shame on us if we don't exploit that, and I mean that in a positive way. If we don't encourage and exploit some of these talents, because when it comes time on your shift, look, I don't care what kind of glitter shit you got on your collar, or what kind of emblem you have on your front piece. We got a lot of people who have great talent. You got to get the right tool for the right job, and sometimes that tool is one of the people on our shift. Sometimes it's us. Sometimes we're the worst tool, and we got to make sure that we look at that. So that's where I kind of want to blend this a little bit too, is to say our off-duty time a lot of times is for enjoyment, passion, interests, a variety of different things. But some of those things can come in so handy, in times of emergency and even non-emergency. Sometimes we just need a support network, or hey, I have this funny smell in my house. I smelled this 100 times during my career, but I can tell you that something's wrong, but I just don't know what to do about it. But we know the guy to call. So, Ben, how about you in your off-duty time? Besides being a extremely full-time dad,
Yeah.
What are some things that you're doing?
Yeah. On days where Harper goes to daycare, it's, you usually drop her off, go to the gym, work out. And like Bobby mentioned, it's something that like he enjoys, and it's taken me a long time to get to a point where it's like that. But it's something that I'm starting to enjoy. Um, I always, even as an athletic trainer, people would ask like, well, should I run? Should I do this? Should I do that? And um, I would always give them the response of, yeah, I mean, you can work out if you want. Like when you raise your heart rate, it's just like a waste of beats. Like you only get so many heartbeats in your life. So if you use them faster, you're just going to die sooner. Um, Obviously jokingly when I saying that, like knowing the physiology of like your heart gets more efficient as it, as you exercise and all that kind of stuff. But that was my response. And now it's like Rachel will know, like if I haven't worked out, the day or so, because Harper's been sick or whatever, she's like, you need to get out of the house. You need to go to the gym, do whatever you got to do. Just get away, go, come back later. We'll be fine. So that's something that I've really started to enjoy. And then, obviously on weekends when daycare's closed or Harper's sick or, we have a day off, it's fun doing stuff as a family. And that is like, watching Harper go from, this little thing that you would hold in your hands like this to a crazy little 2-year-old right now. Um, One, and you guys can vouch for this, like just how fast it goes, but like the amount of fun that it turns into. Like I never would have thought 2 years ago that I would be having as much fun as I am right now. Like, because literally 2 years ago when she was, she's 3 months old, like it was survival mode. Like I was like, what the hell do you do with this thing now? Like she's she's not hungry. We just fed her. She's clean. We burped her. She's not sleepy. Like she just woke up from a nap. Like, and she's still crying. What do you do? Like, I have no idea. Like, holy shit, just make her stop crying. Like it was literally survival mode. And then, I keep mentioning like 10 months, 11 months when she started to, like, you could talk to her and have a little bit of a conversation. Like, and from there it has just been a skyrocket of how much fun she is to be around and all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, like that's life when I get a chance and throw some meat on the smoker. And like Bobby, I know we've talked a little bit about it. I talked to his partner, RC, another guy on our shift who smokes a lot of meat on a smoker. Um, there's no good way to say that, right? No good way to.
Good recovery, Ben.
Yeah, right. Um, so talking to those folks that do that kind of stuff, like it's cool to see different recipes and to hear how people do different things.
I got to tell you an RC story.
Go ahead.
My longtime driver operator RC today. This morning we got off work and there's a little box alarm in our hometown, and I have to tell you, he actually pulled the ham on it. So just so you know, it can be done.
What is he feeling okay?
I haven't checked on him. We should probably check on him.
Yeah. Are you sure it wasn't one of his kids in his gear? Like,
it was it was a good fire. Doug Scott was there. It was decent. So good people. Yeah.
Nice. What'd you guys have?
Lightning strike on a house. Caught the corner of the house. Yeah.
Is that the one? Was that the one in Bethany?
Well, Millville.
Okay.
Bethany claims that stuff, but they don't have anything.
All right. Well, I saw something on the.
I hope Tommy Moore's watching this.
They're out. They're out in Wisconsin looking at their new ladder truck. Did you guys see that?
I bet they're colder than we are.
Oh hell yeah, they are. They look cold.
And Bobby, you know how Dougie Scott's kind of like the Chuck Norris of the fire service. I mean, mosquitoes refuse to bite him just out of respect. I mean,
yes.
So I'm sure when Scotty got on the scene, the fire just self-extinguished, didn't it?
That's right. Ran away from him.
So I want to know how RC ended up at the firehouse when there was a call.
You know what? He just a couple of days ago drove the engine on a working house fire around the corner.
No shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Huh. Reinvented, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. He's gonna love that we talked about him tonight too. You know that.
Huh?
He's gonna love that we talked about him tonight too. You know that.
Oh, I don't care. Nah. Well, good. Yeah, nice. See, even a show where we're supposed to talk about life outside the firehouse, we're still talking about firehouse shit.
We do.
That's what's kind of funny, Ben, is that when we all had an opportunity, like to say, the other week, had an opportunity to go to Virginia Beach and celebrate, probably, a dear friend, a highly respected colleague, his 70th birthday, and, just a classy guy. And, I say this kiddingly and seriously at the same time. I mean, this is a guy, I mean, he's got so much class. I mean, he would step out of the shower to take a piss. That's how classy he is. But, I mean, literally the next day he calls me up, my phone rings, I'm looking, it's Tommy Kane. And he was just so genuine. Hey man, thank you so much for coming up. Really, appreciated seeing you. And I mean, he went like person by person by person. And I know he had that same conversation probably 35 times that same day. So, there is a lot of crossover, but, I hadn't seen Tommy in, I don't know how many years, but it was so cool to kind of get back in that mode of the friendships and the camaraderie and everything else. And look, there's a lot of people in that room that we've taken vacations with together, or we've done things completely outside the firehouse.
Yeah.
And, we all have that kind of, that blending, and of course the immaturity comes back. And Ben,
I'm good for now.
Thank you for helping me celebrate that immaturity. And putting plastic knives and forks in people's pockets, but but that, I think that overlap is really cool too. Is where we have our fire service family, we have our biological family, and like I say, whether it's vacations, outings, barbecues, picnics, work events, non-work events, or just being at work. It's really cool to me how all those families just kind of integrate and blend together.
Yeah. I do want to throw you under the bus here again. That when we had Tiffany on, and you're talking about the Thursday before we were all supposed to go to Virginia Beach, and you're talking about, we're going to go this weekend, see a good friend for a surprise birthday party, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry about that, but thank God that was the show that Tommy was not watching, because when I went back and looked after you told me that, because you called me up afterwards and you're like, what the French toast is your problem? Like, what do you mean? What did you wrong?
Yeah.
And you told me exactly what you just said. I was like, oh yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, look here, as Del Baker would say, I fucked up. So
Hey, Trevor, I got something for you, and just see what your perspective is on this. So,
oh shit.
obviously, I've talked about in the past about some of the troubles I had in my fire service history.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's talk about the statute of limitations. Where are we on that, Bobby? Before you
No, we're good. We're talking about fire stuff still.
Okay.
So, a couple of close calls, I guess you could call them, or whatever you want to call them, sketchy moments, whatever. But I know that, like, one of the things that happened to me was that I appreciated some of the things about life more. I know you talked when we teach a lot about, one of your close moments too. What do you think now, retrospectively, about outside of the firehouse, how you appreciate life? Knowing that you may not have made it this far. I mean, what's your thoughts about it? For me, it was crazy. Like the crazy thing after one of those events was, like, the next morning I was just like appreciative I could go to the bathroom. Like, I could have been killed and just stupid stuff like that. But how has it affected you now when you look back on that event? I mean, how did that change your life, Trevor?
Well, Bobby, that's a great question, and it's really kind of twofold. And I can only speculate because I've not lived in these other shoes. But amongst our brothers and sisters, we speak a common language, and we can talk to each other, and we know. I know you've been down that hallway with me, Bobby, or I know if you weren't down that particular hallway with me, you've been down the same hallway in a different house at a different time, and can appreciate anything and everything. So I think that it's a little bit divided, not in a negative way, but it's a little bit divided in what we share amongst our fire service family and our other family and friends, and we're not keeping them out of it, but I imagine it would be like somebody who's been in combat in the military being able to speak with their brothers and sisters who've been down that same path and chewed the same dirt, versus someone who could empathize with them but doesn't have that experience. So it's a little bit of a divergent path, but I think as time goes on, you find your peace with things, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you relive some things. You kind of you try to find that balance with things, and really find out the why. And one of the pieces of advice I was given, which has been very helpful to me, is sometimes we try to make sense out of situations that just don't make sense, because human nature is we want to categorize things. We want to put things in our boxes. And look, oh my God, look at this handsome son of a bitch coming in here. What is that, Bobby? Is that Mark? Is that Mark Wahlberg? Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Mike Wood. I'm sorry. That looked like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch getting ready to do a dance there for a minute. So, hey, brother Mike, good to see you,
Cheers.
my friend. Cheers. So, so Bobby, I think that when you recount the personal and professional experiences, and you try to go forward, you put them into those categories, but you have to, and I'm still working on this myself. There's a lot of how can I put it? You have to learn a little bit about self-compassion, and I suck at it. And that's something I'm still trying to learn, because, of course, we hold ourselves to a higher standard than anybody else has ever done. So with that being said, I think it's a process, not an event. And, because we're all in here together, and, I know, and I kind of wish, after the events of, later last week, a person that I literally talked to a week before they passed and had lunch with 4 days before they passed. I'm sorry, well, vice versa. Had lunch with a week before they passed and spoke to 4 days. I wish we had more of a conversation, but there's nothing I can do about that. So I got to find my peace with it. So, I think as long as we kind of remember that there's other people out there who've been down the exact same path we have, as crazy as those paths may seem, or as divergent as they may seem. We're all in this together as a family. So whether it's your biological, your natural family, your fire service family, I think we have resources there, and other people who have had a similar experience, even though if we've had what we consider the oddest experience of our lifetime, it might be similar to other people within a certain community. So I don't know if that answers your question, Bobby, but that's just my thought on it.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I think, as I've been in the fire service, it's funny because you meet so many people, but it feels like as you go through this journey that the family becomes a little bit smaller, those ones that are right there at your hip, but become stronger, that's what it kind of feels like to me when you're talking about the fire service family in general, is that there's just some of those guys you relate with, those guys that want to be interior guys or have been interior guys and have been there. And I think that we kind of relate to each other a little bit more. And I guess that's not a bad thing, I suppose, but that's just how I feel. So we got Mike here, and Mike, we're talking about what we do out of work, kind of to have fun and stuff like that outside the firehouse and stuff. So
I wish I could weigh in on that. I don't remember the last time I was out of work.
You're not out right now.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, I got home around 5 o'clock and threw the football while I was doing yard work, and then shooed the kids inside and rushed to get some alone time with the wife. But now I'm sitting here talking shop again. So left her in there with the other young ladies, and so it's our date night too. So.
Is that your and Bobby's date night?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Don't be jealous.
Well, Mike, no offense, I'm not trying to put a stopwatch to you, but if you spend some alone time, dude, just saying, you get up your game a little bit.
But with that said, that's the thing about this job. I'm not at work right now, but we're still talking about fire, and it's got to be okay. Even though we talked about this in a previous show, it's okay to love the job. It's okay to go home and love the job. It's okay to be at work and be all about the job. It is, and in certain places, I'm not going to name any, but it is one of those things, I think, that is almost becoming bastardized, as if you really love what you do, and people always try to label it, well, they're squirrely, or they're this, or they're that. And it's okay. It's okay to love what you do. As a matter of fact, you should. And if you don't love what you do, then I think you are actually the one doing a disservice, and I love what I do. I love everything about the fire service. I love the people I hang out with. I love having you guys around me, and I enjoy it, which is why I'm sitting here and just getting off work and still talking shop, because I do love it. And I think that's what we need more of, as much as we try to fight, or society tries to fight against that now. And like I said, bastardizes it, saying, well, that's kind of linked to tradition, and tradition's not good anymore because years ago, tradition equals history, and history has had a lot of bad things in it. Yeah, that's correct. But there's also been a whole lot of good things about it. And we can't let those go just because there were bad things, because there's always going to be those bad things, And again, I love the job, and I think that's something that we should all want, and we should want of our crews in the field. We should want of our leadership. We should want of our management. If those guys are just sitting around, and I've had this conversation with guys in both departments that are in management positions, where you hear them say, well, counting down the days, I got 2 more years and I'm out of here. Like, that's not who you want managing you. You don't want people that are just counting down the days and waiting to leave. You want guys that say, hey man, I'm here to dig in, and I'm going to, up until my last day, I'm going to give everything I got. And guys like that shouldn't be in management positions, in my opinion. I think they only do a disservice to our service and to the dedication of the people in the field. You don't want to, you're following a leader that is just waiting to get off work and get out of the way. Meanwhile, they're expecting you to be willing to sacrifice your life. That, to me, that doesn't correlate, doesn't line up. But that's my opinion about that. I went on. I rambled too much.
No, it's good. It's good.
No, actually, Mike, you didn't ramble at all, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I was sharing this before you came on. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to go down and see one of our brothers who's been on this podcast as well. Retired Battalion Chief Jerry Tracy from FDNY. We've known him for years. He came to Ocean City, did a lot of training. Come to find out, he's got a house in Florida, which I guess that's a New York state law. You got to have a house in Florida when you retire. But he was down teaching a class about responding to emergencies in large and tall buildings, both under construction and occupied. And
you're muted, Trevor. You muted, Trevor. You muted. There you go. Nope.
Is that better?
That's better.
Actually, what I had to say was probably not important, but I'll start again.
Well, in that case, anyway, let me mute you.
It was so nice that you bobbed your head oh, that's really cool, dude. What I was saying is, yesterday I had an opportunity. A good friend of ours, he's been to Ocean City many times. He came down to West Palm yesterday. Retired Battalion Chief from FDNY, Jerry Tracy, and he was doing a class on large and tall buildings under construction and occupied. And here's a guy he's been retired for a little bit. He still contributes just as passionately to the fire service today, if not more, that he probably did when he was on the job. And his energy that he brought, and some of the things where it was great because myself and 5 people from my department went to that class, and we sat there as a 8-hour class, wonderful. And it was put on by the Fraternal Order of Firefighters from West Palm, and they brought him down. I mean, and Jerry's just as good now as he was then, but he's contemporary. He's keeping up on these things, and he brought more information. Can I say I learned something yesterday? Absolutely. I'm sitting there going, wow, this is amazing. But this guy's got just such vigor and passion and enthusiasm, just like you guys were talking about. And when I had the young people on my team text me after the class, go, hey, thank you so much for sponsoring me to go to this. It was nothing. It was it was like literally a single line on an entry form, but they were so thankful and they got all this great information, and just to see their energy level and get pumped up about high-rise firefighting and large building firefighting and buildings under construction. And hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So the conversation that came out of it, and again, here's somebody who is, quote unquote retired, but last month wrote an article about a combat mindset in high-rise buildings and was on the cutting edge of technology in high-rise buildings. So, I think that's what we all appreciate about each other is that everyone has their niche. Everyone has that passion. And it's so nice, whether it's either an on-duty or off-duty thing where we can kind of get re-energized and reinvigorated to go back and put 110% into the job.
Yeah, good point, Trevor. And, I think maybe about a year ago, maybe we had Bobby Halton on here. It was about a year ago, wasn't it? And, here's a guy that he took that passion to his grave with him. He's still looking down, probably still cussing us a little bit for what we do every now and then. You know what I mean? It's a good point.
Yeah. Kind of to Mike's and kind of what we've all kind of talked about is, there was a difference when I was working at the school. So I worked at the school for 14 years, worked part-time in Ocean City for, 12 summers before coming full-time. The relationship and the friendships that I had with the people that I worked for 3 months was drastically different than the people that I worked for 14 years. Not to say that they weren't family and the people that I worked with in Ocean City weren't family, because it's I consider them all family. But the difference of the job expectation that Bobby and I are on engine 4 and we get a fire and we're going, we have to crawl down the hallway. Like, I know Bobby's not leaving me, and Bobby should know that I'm not leaving him.
I might be a little slower.
Well, I'll try and keep up.
Forget my helmet. Go ahead. You can say it. Get it out of your system, man.
But that's the expectation of our job. Like that. Whatever we're going to do, we're going to go through it together, and we're going to do it. When the shit hits the fan, we're still going to be there together, and not that not that we didn't have a similar relationship with the people that I worked with at Snow Hill, but that's not the expectation of the job. Like there is the chances for us to be involved in a hostile situation like a building being on fire together and have to make those kind of actions is different than working in a high school. Like, it's not realistic. Their expectation, if the building was on fire in high school, is to get out with the kids. That's their job. Our job is to go in and put the fire out. So you have to have a different relationship and a different level of trust and a different bond that I think is unique to the fire service. That's unique to the armed forces. That's unique to the police department. So I always thought it was like I got the best of both worlds. I was able to work in the school, and when I was tired of working on high school kids, I'd come to the beach. I'd put large IVs in there, and then just as a little fuck you, and take them to the hospital. And then when I got tired of drunks, I'd go back to the high school. And you boys all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just talking about you.
Oh, that's fine. It's not the first time, won't be the last. But by the time I got tired of going to the drunks at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, it was time to go work back to high school, and it was in the past. And now I've realized that this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And like Mike said, you gotta love the job. Every day you go to work. Even like you guys said, we're off and we're still here talking about it. And it's one of the best things that I've done.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about it. I was thinking about, you just made me think about, Ben, like when I was talking about that brotherhood. And when you talk about it, you think about what are the famous calls in fire departments or outside. There where people can say stuff and things. Come on over. And hey, everybody meet Nicole.
Hey.
It's date night. This is what we're doing outside the firehouse.
They're claiming me as a dependent now, by the way.
Nicole, you could do better, but nice to meet you. We love Michael.
Hey, can you mute Trevor, please?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when you look at what's newsworthy about what's extraordinary about firefighting as far as us goes is really for interior firefighters, everything that we experience is out of the view of the public. You know what I mean? So for us, our world is passing a threshold where nobody can see what's going on. And the news and the awards and stuff like that, the spectacular crash off the bridge or whatever, those are the things that are like kind of newsworthy, because when they say, well, what was that fire like? We couldn't see anything.
Yeah, it was hot.
It was hot, and people go, well, yeah, it was a fire. Of course it was hot, But we know what that feels like, not knowing where you are, getting a little bit disoriented in zero visibility, feeling the heat, not knowing where it's coming from, hearing the noises, not knowing what's happening, those types of things. And it's very few people. And I think veterans are the same way. I'm a veteran, but I was not a combat veteran. I was on a ship, and yeah, I got in the VFW, but I have friends that are combat veterans, and what they experience with those brothers out there is completely different than the other veterans. And I think so when I talk about interior firefighters, I talk about those guys that live in that crazy world together, and there's no explaining it to anybody else. You could try till the cows come home to explain what we're talking about. They'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever. Just like if we read a book from a guy that suffered some big losses in Vietnam, we'd say, oh, we can empathize with him. But can we? We don't know what it feels like to be shot
Right.
at, and our buddy gets hit next to us. It's a different thing. So
Yeah.
I think maybe that's why, even through all the controversies that happen in the fire service, there's still that brotherhood. I call it the brotherhood of the interior guys. The guys that are just, they love to eat and breathe this stuff and are just dumb enough to love what we're doing and kind of go through it. So what do you
Yeah,
guys think?
yeah, Bobby, I agree with you. Because and we kind of alluded to that before, and you hit the nail on the head with whether it's a combat veteran, who can empathize more with a combat veteran or that interior firefighter or somebody else. And just like this past Monday night, one of my lifeguards, he's no spring chicken, he's in his mid-50s, did dude, mate. Hey, don't, Bobby, don't get feelings on me, babe.
Yeah, I'm sitting right here, man.
No, but what I'm saying is, I mean, this guy, he's been a professional ocean rescue lifeguard for decades, and he had a call the other week where he did like amazing prevention, and people are people, you can't always control what they do, and he had two people that he had gone down at the end of shift, says, hey, look, I'm getting ready to get off duty. Don't go in the water. There's a rip current right there. Did an amazing job educating him. Went back. He was putting his stuff away. And they left the beach and then went down about 100 yards and they entered the water in another place. I guess they felt Lake Atlantic was safer, 100 yards down. And it was two sisters and they got caught in the rip current. And he was technically off duty. I mean, he absolutely had no duty to respond. But, that's not us. That's not who we are. He's a professional rescuer. And it was outside the guarded area. Rolls down there on the ATV, goes out. Lady submerges when he's about 20 yards away. He duck dives under and recovers her. She's in cardiac arrest, grabs his sister. So he's got one in a cross chest, the other one on a buoy, swims two people in. And the only thing where we can like poke him in the eye, which we're not doing, is because everything materialized so fast. He didn't call on the radio, said he's going in for a rescue. So when he brought both victims up on the beach, drug the person in cardiac arrest up on the sand, started CPR and pointed to a citizen on the beach, says, hey, will you please call 911 so I can get some help? Think about that. This guy went out in austere conditions, very snotty conditions. The sea state was not good. Doesn't rescue one, but rescues two and initiates CPR on one. And unfortunately, lady succumbed to her injuries. But at the end of the day, he also was able to recover that person so the family at least can, have the benefit of, some sort of closure. She wasn't completely lost at sea. And we recognized him Monday night. At a commission meeting, I gave him a commendation, and the look on his face, and I was like, and I had a conversation with him after. He was so conflicted. I mean, he had never been recognized his entire career because they used to be underneath like Parks and Rec and then police department, and then they finally came under the fire department where they belong. Editorial comment, but him and his wife, they were so, I think, grateful that his efforts and his career had been kind of vindicated and recognized. And at the same time, you looked at this guy's face and he's like, yeah, but one of them died. But one, and you could just, so we had a conversation after. Unfortunately, his lieutenant on the ocean rescue talked to him. But that's what we go through. It's like, it's the highs and lows, and what the public may expect as, oh, hey, thank you for your service, which we always appreciate. And we can say, oh, you're welcome, my pleasure, no, thank you. But at the same time, you start to reflect back on those other things, and we become our own worst critics. But you're right, Bobby. I think that unless you've been down that hallway, unless you've been at the tip of that ladder or on that nozzle, or with that kid, or that older person, or that trauma, whatever subset of fire rescue and fire EMS that we're dealing with, there's the people who are in the industry and have the same title, and there's the people who've been down the hallway. And I'm not poking anyone in the eye, but I think that we kind of coalesce with the people that we know have had a similar shared experience.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. 100%. The interior firefighter can relate to only a few, because you look at a fire ground and it's easy to see. It's very apparent, and those same numbers hold true, I think, in every department, no matter what size it is, and maybe not numbers, but percentages. Your percentage of guys that are gals, firefighters that you're going to find inside, and you're going to see them walk out, change out their bottle, go back in, and then when the smoke is cleared, they're going to come out, they're going to drop their bottle, get a drink, grab equipment, go back in to start overhaul and checking for extension and things like that. And you'll find them in there all the time. And when they walk out at the end, you'll find them spent. But they're also the same ones that are going to go back, going to clean up the tools properly, going to put them back on, and going to sit back and say, I'm really tired, I'm smoked. I hope we don't get anything else the rest of the night, but if we do, you can count on me. And that's rare, and it's becoming even more rare, in my opinion.
Well, there is a side effect to all this, that a lot of these interior guys are kind of sketchy people, and the old saying is, I trust you with my life. Can I trust you with my wife?
Yeah.
So you got to keep an eye on them guys too. You know what I mean?
I mean that's a fair point, Bobby. But I'm not really worried about you guys, because you seem like you're at a men's club right now. So enjoy.
Yo, is the dress code Under Armour and jeans?
Never go home alone.
Under Armour and jeans.
Never go home alone.
And it's all about punctuation. There's a difference between never leaving your buddies behind and never leaving your buddies behind. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
This is
It's not gay. It's okay. It's a brother.
Ben, how many do we have left in the FCC rules?
We're ticking them off pretty good.
Yeah, we got a few points left in there, but when you guys are club sauce, I'm just saying.
Yeah. The House of Man Sauce.
Well, if he moves over a little bit,
Did you hear what he said?
it's ace. Aces.
Ace Ventura.
So it's all perspective.
Yeah.
Hey, brother, it's your house. We're just paying rent, man. Go ahead.
But it is fun. It's fun coming down to see you, Trevor, when you moved and you left, and we come down to see you. And one of the things about having brothers like this is that it's like nothing ever happened. Like you pick it right up where it left off. We might not see you for a year, and then we come and see you, and it's just like we'd never split up or you went to a different department or anything like that. I just try to remember you're not a cheat, and that makes it all better.
All the Band-Aids from the paper cuts on his hand make it difficult.
Yeah. So
No, he's wearing white.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, I've got off camera. I've got one finger. Guess which one?
You're muted again.
Okay.
Muted.
So Ben, what do you do on your days off? Before you had the kid.
Before I had the kid?
Yeah.
There was a lot more alcohol and a lot more of the beach involved.
I got you.
Yeah.
Trevor, how big's your boat now? You got a bigger one, didn't you?
Yeah, but the sad thing is we just don't have a chance to use as much as, you always think that, when you have the opportunity, that you're going to take it. But, Liz and I just talked about that. So, we've been slacking on that. We've had a lot of, just life gets in the way, but we're trying to get out there, maybe this weekend. But Bobby, I appreciate what you said, truly, because like when we were all in Virginia Beach the other weekend, there's some people I haven't seen in quite some time. I see you guys more regularly, obviously, both online and personally, but there's people I hadn't seen in years, and it's like you picked up right where you left off. And I think that's one of the coolest things about the fire service. But as far as the boat, it's sitting in the water right now, and I hope she gets some exercise this weekend.
Right. Is it because it won't fit 14 dogs and 6 cats and 8 birds?
Oh no, it'll fit all of them, but it's just a matter of between the petting zoo and then a 15-year-old son, and and just life in general. But like I was telling Ben earlier pre-show, it's been a long day. I'm still getting text messages about some stuff at work now, which I'm getting ready to hit the ignore button unless it's something really significant that we have to deal with. There's some things that can wait till tomorrow. So, and actually, Greggy, the Rump Shaker 2 was sold. That was the blue boat. The Rump Shaker 1 was the little white center console. This one's called the Shore Thing. And what's really unique is that Captain Del Baker has a house about 30 minutes, Hollywood. I was talking to him today. He's doing a snowbird thing, but he's down here right now. He lives about maybe 30, I'll say 35 for round numbers, but about 32 minutes north of me. He's actually he's becoming a Marine surveyor. You talk about people doing things outside the firehouse. I mean, here's a guy who's a, awesome firefighter, awesome paramedic. He is a diver, obviously a water dog. He worked for Towboat US, still does. And now he's becoming a Marine surveyor. He actually started class, yesterday, in a 5-week class to, take on that responsibility. So it's kind of cool what people kind of matriculate to in their career. And he'll be able to do that not only on Delmarva, but down here in South Florida. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. Well, guys, we're right at an hour, and I know Bobby and Mike, they're out on date night, so good luck, boys. Who brought who flowers?
I got them. They're
Nice.
hidden.
Nice.
They're hidden.
I don't want to know where. Cheers, guys. It's always a pleasure.
All right, and Bobby and Mike, best wishes and good luck in the wet G-string contest. I know you guys are going to rock it, so we're here for you.
Support is important. Thank you.
And if you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter.
All right, everybody. We'll be back on the 16th. Tune in. Join us that night. Captain Austin Enzer from the Bel Air Fire Company. Lieutenant with them. Captain of the Primary Search Fishing. So give us make sure I'm all flustered. I'm picturing Bobby and Mike in their G-strings.
Ben, I'm sorry. Look behind him. It says sack. Just saying.
Yeah.
It does. It does. Yeah.
Sack.
Hey, so listen, in the future, we're going to do a show where we're going to bring little Roger Stager on here and Mike, and we're going to discuss which is better, the engine or the truck.
Oh, I like it.
Stay tuned for that,
I like it. We'll set that up, too. I'm all about it. So, long story short, we'll see you on the 16th. And, you guys take it easy. And we'll see you later. Cheers.
All right,
Cheers, everybody.
Be safe.